BPD's Real-Time Crime Center. It's been up and running for some time now using license plate readers, body cameras, vehicle cameras, street cameras, and voluntary video from businesses and residents. It's all to help officers respond faster and solve cases. Joining me right now here to talk about it is Lieutenant Cody Courts with the Beaumont Police Department. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, so tell us a little bit about this. How much has the Real-Time Crime Center changed from where it is today to when it first got set up?
So the Real-Time Crime Center first started in January of 2024. There were 3 officers in it, myself, a sergeant, and a detective. And at this point, we have 9 analysts, still the original 3. We've grown from 0 cameras integrated to over 3,600, I believe. A lot more license plate readers. We've become much better at what we do. And we've just sped up investigations a lot, and we've reached out to a lot of community members who've been just the biggest help. The community has been the biggest help in this entire thing.
How much has this been a game changer when it comes to Beaumont Police Department solving crimes?
It's really changed a lot of what we do. Before, an investigation that might take 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months now takes a few hours. We have been able to prosecute a lot of cases or arrest people for a lot of cases that before would have never been solved. In 2023, many of these auto burglaries would have gone completely unsolved, and at this point, we're getting a lot more of them. Auto theft in the city's gone down by, I think, 43%. So it really has been a big game changer.
So the auto thefts just aren't happening as much anymore? Has word gotten around that people are getting caught for this type of thing, or are y'all solving those crimes on a much greater rate than you were before?
So actually, our clearance rate for auto theft is triple the national average. So that's because of those awesome detectives and patrol officers, acting on all this stuff from the crime center and just doing their own investigations. But also, I think it works as a really good deterrent. There's actually a phone call between one of the auto theft suspects where he mentions the Real-Time Crime Center in the jail phone call, which we were pretty proud of. So I think the word has gotten out, especially to the people who don't live here but come here to commit crime, that it's probably more difficult now to do stuff like that in Beaumont than in times previously.
So tell us, what happens in the Real-Time Crime Center? Let's say a stolen vehicle's driving down the road there, that gets picked up on one of your license plate readers. What happens next?
So in that case, it's going to alert all the officers who are at work. They're going to go to that area and try to stop that vehicle, which is an important part of what we do. Nothing we do in the crime center would do any good without those patrol officers doing an excellent job on the street, and we really appreciate how much they've, kind of bought into the system and have used all these tools to help themselves out.
I imagine these are Beaumont crimes that are being solved here, but are there other agencies involved? Are y'all also partnering with other agencies? What's all integrated in there?
So just about every agency around here has contributed to the crime center in some way, shape, or form. We've worked cases, I think, in every single agency that touches Beaumont, and we've done some things on cases as far away as El Paso and as far east as, I think, Alabama. So pretty much anywhere that we can help out, we'll help them out, and we, of course, ask for help from our partners north, south, east, and west of us.
I know there's a lot of cameras all around the region. I know Jefferson County has a lot of these flock cameras, and those are really popping up a lot of places. So I imagine those are all kind of connected, and do y'all just kind of contact that neighboring agency if something pings up on their end, or do they have their own real-time crime centers?
So it really depends on the system. We have the system we use, and it works for us, but a flock camera alerts differently than a different kind of camera. Flock is just one of the vendors that we use. We try to educate our people on all of the stuff that we have access to and all of the stuff that's coming in the next few years. So to answer your question, it's always a little bit different. We try to reach out to a human when we can, because they know more than what the alert's going to say.
Is there a high-profile case that has happened that really kind of highlights how the Real-Time Crime Center has been effective?
There actually is. I'm trying to think of one that's been adjudicated so that I don't talk about an ongoing investigation. There was an ATM robbery last year, I believe, where our Real-Time Crime Center detective, who just does an excellent job, tracked down this vehicle and got it stopped, I believe, in Houston. And I think they had $140,000 they had stolen from this ATM.
They basically raided that ATM. A technician was there at the ATM, and they ran over there, and they, like, you know, put your hands up, and they took everything out of the ATM there. And the flock cameras were tracking them before they even got back to Houston. They were part of a Houston-based gang, as I remember that one.
Yes, sir. And that case has already gone to trial and everything. So that was an excellent case. There's dozens like that where our analysts have just done, I mean, an amazing amount of research and really fast thinking to get our officers in the right place at the right time.
So certainly you guys can react a lot quicker, solve these cases a lot faster. What about an ongoing incident, a critical incident? Let's say officers, they're on the way to some sort of a situation, maybe it's a SWAT situation or something like that. What are y'all able to do? Are y'all able to tap into, I don't know, their dash cam cameras or their body cameras? Or tell us about what the Real-Time Crime Center can do for situations like that.
So they can watch body cam live, they can watch dash cam live. We keep a record of how many calls they monitor, and at this point, since about March of 2025, they've monitored over 18,000 calls to watch those officers' backs on traffic stops, you know, watch their body cameras if they're on a disturbance by themselves. And one of the really underrated things they do in the Crime Center is communication. Whenever our detectives and our patrol officers and all of these people working together are on the same case, they're obviously in different locations. The Crime Center creates a communication method so that everyone gets the same pictures, everyone gets the same information, so there's not a need to redo something someone's already done, and we keep ourselves from going down wild goose chases.
Absolutely. You know, I think about the way people drive out here, and you know, it's kind of infamous the way people drive around here, and unfortunately that can lead to road rage. That can lead to, you know, maybe I need to follow this guy, stay on the phone with the local law enforcement, you know, get an officer out here to take care of this situation. That's really discouraged because that can lead to some bad outcomes, of course. Have y'all been able to, using the Real-Time Crime Center, to maybe track down some people who are just driving really terribly, maybe breaking some laws, maybe causing some issues there on the roadway, so that you can kind of get in the middle between a person who's experiencing road rage and the person that may have done something illegal in that situation?
Yes, we've done that several times, and just a word to the wise, if you have a road rage incident, the best thing for you to do as a citizen is to call the police department and just drive to the police department. That's a good way to keep yourself safe. But also, other than road rage, there are some incidents where people have had medical emergencies. There was one woman who had recently had a surgery, and I guess the anesthesia or something hadn't worn off, or she had a reaction to it. So her vehicle was driving really erratically into traffic. So we were able to use cameras to track her down and get officers over to stop her. And that officer called, I think, her daughter to come pick her up, so that, you know, she didn't get hurt, no one else got hurt. That's a really underrated thing that I think is a really good public safety thing that we're able to do with it.
So in that situation, someone obviously called 911 and said there's someone who's driving erratically on the road, and y'all were able to track that vehicle as it was going places and able to, it sounds like, intercept it perhaps, or catch up with them there.
Yeah, and the big difference is, before, if someone called 911 and they had a vehicle driving erratically, well, obviously we're relying on that citizen who called 911 to follow that vehicle. But we don't want to put them in danger, and also people have stuff to do. So a lot of times our citizen will continue on a freeway or take their exit. Well, at that point, we don't know where our reckless driver is, and we can use a lot of these cameras, plate readers, and other, you know, things we have access to go find that erratic driver before they hit and kill somebody.
Let's talk about how much people have been buying into the Real-Time Crime Center. Do you have a lot of just private camera owners that have, I don't know, tapped in completely or signed up for some sort of registry? Talk about that.
So we have two different versions of cameras that we use as far as video cameras. We have integrated cameras, which we can watch live, or we can go back a couple of days on a recording. We integrate businesses, so if you have a gas station or some sort of store, you can integrate your cameras with us on the level of consent that you're comfortable with. For neighborhoods, we like to register cameras, which doesn't give us access to those cameras, but it tells us where the camera is and who owns it, so that if there's a bunch of auto burglaries in our neighborhood, we can just circle all our blue dots on a map, send those people an email with a case number, and ask them to watch their own videos to send us through a link, instead of canvassing the neighborhood by knocking on doors. So it's kind of, you know, both ways, because we really don't want to have cameras in neighborhoods because we respect people's privacy, and we don't, you know, we don't want, sometimes there's just too much of a good thing, I guess.
You know, these cameras, these eyes in the sky, they don't come without their controversy, or at least without people being, I don't know, very suspicious of them. I think about recently in Houston, you've had someone going around cutting down the flock cameras there.
Yeah.
What has been the perception from the residents here locally? Have you had pushback from people wanting it, or are you seeing a lot of positive reaction to it from, say, neighborhood associations?
So we've seen much more positive reaction than negative reaction. We do like to hear from people, though, about their concerns, because we want to do things in the way the community wants us to do them. You know, we want to keep everyone safe, but we also don't want people to feel paranoid or anything like that. So we like to listen to the people who have criticisms, because we really do take those things into account with the things we do. We are very transparent. We bring people up to the crime center for tours. I mean, all the time. I think we did 3 on Monday, all ages, because it's a neat place, you know. And if I were a kid and I got to see this room full of cameras and video screens and everything, it would be really memorable to me. So we like to show it off, and we just like to let people know kind of what we're doing, so that it's not a mystery to them.
So if people wanted to come and check this out, maybe through their neighborhood association, you have an email that you could share with us, perhaps?
Sure. It's a rtcc@beaumonttexas.gov, all spelled out.
Okay.
And if anyone does want to come up for a tour, they're more than welcome to email us, and we'll schedule it for them.
Okay. Who's allowed to access these real-time crime center systems?
So our analysts are the main people who access those systems, but our officers and our dispatchers also have access to them, because sometimes, you know, we have 2 people working a 12-hour shift, so there might need to be a 3rd call that needs to be dealt with. So our officers have access to them.
What's to ensure that, you know, the things that you'll capture don't fall into the wrong hands or aren't misused?
So we follow the same thing with the real-time crime center technologies we do anything else. You know, we have police reports in our records management system that have banking information and anything else you could think of. So the same security measures for that go to the cameras and the plate readers and the things we use.
Are you guys also handling the video that is submitted to the police department? Say I have my own personal dash cam as I drive around and I capture something illegal, or I have a Ring camera or something like that. Mm-hmm. Do y'all also process that?
So as far as processing it goes, there's a lot of different ways that you can get video to the police department. All of our officers have a link that they can send, or, you know, when they're on a call talking to someone, they can get video that way. You can just call the police department's public number and tell them you have some video you need to submit, and they'll get you to the right place to get it to. Most of the things we do in the crime center are, real time is really what we try to be. So it's monitoring things, and it's monitoring ongoing calls and helping those officers on the street. It's not a lot of evidence collection after the fact.
You've caught us up to date for how far we've come. It's been how long now that the Real-Time Crime Center's been up and running?
Let's see, January 2024, about 2.5 years.
A year from now, 2 years from now, what's going to be different about the Real-Time Crime Center? Where are we going with this?
So beyond 2 years, to me, is impossible to predict, because I would have never predicted this 2 years ago from now. But you can expect drones first responders. So they'll be flying drones from the crime center. We're hoping to get some more personnel, because right now our 2 analysts that are working are incredibly busy with everything they're doing. Well, once you add a drone in the mix, or you add, you know, several more agencies that are wanting more and more things from the crime center, we're just going to need more human beings to do it, because none of this matters without the people actually doing that work, and we just have the best employees in the whole world.
I was going to ask, how long before the drones come online? Any idea for that?
It should be pretty soon. I don't want to put a date on it, just because, you know, behind the scenes there is so much work that goes into setting up things like this. I mean, little things that you wouldn't think about what does a drone do when a helicopter goes to land at a hospital, or what does a drone do when a small plane goes off its course. There's just a lot of logistics that have to be worked out. But I would say in the next several months.
Give us an idea, what would these drones be used for? What types of police activities?
So as an example, and this has been used in several different cities in the country, if we have a call of a man with a gun, let's say walking down the street with a gun in his hand, well, our officers are not going to go approach that person really, you know, abruptly or fast, because they want to check out the situation, and sometimes they really can't get close enough to actually see if it's a gun or not. So this drone will be able to tell us pretty clearly Is that a gun in his hand? Is that a flashlight? Is that a cell phone? So that can make that situation much more safe no matter what he has in his hand, because we can have a lot of better situational awareness. But in a public service way, if you have an illegally parked vehicle, our drone can go check that out to see if the car is actually still there, so that an officer doesn't have to waste his time to go to this place that the vehicle is left. He can stay in his beat. And what that means for your random citizen is, I'm stuck on the freeway on a wreck. Well, instead of this officer having to pick up this 5-7 minute call, now they're at my wreck 5 to 7 minutes sooner.
Making you guys more efficient. Any chances that drones could maybe replace police pursuits and things like that?
I don't think a drone would ever replace a police pursuit, because at some point you have to put handcuffs on someone and put them in the back of a police car. A drone can give you good surveillance, but it just can't do the things that a police officer can do. I think it will make police pursuits much safer, because our officers won't have to get so close to those vehicles that are fleeing, and I think it'll make us much more efficient about the use of our manpower when we're doing police pursuits.
A lot of interesting things you shared with us here today, Lieutenant Cody Courts. Thank you so much for joining us today to tell us more about the Real-Time Crime Center and the work that y'all do down there at the Beaumont Police Department.
Thank you.